What's up, guys? Welcome back to Seize the Speed for another video. And today, to the left side of me, we have a 2022 Dodge Durango RT with a 5.7 Hemi under the hood. Let's get into it. So first things first, let's get under the hood of this Dodge Durango RT. And the familiar sight that we've been seeing since mid-early 2000s, the 5.7 V8 under the hood. And in this car, it makes 360 horsepower. And you got to keep in mind, this isn't the most powerful Durango at all. This is just the one above the V6. So 360 horsepower might not seem too impressive, but for something barely above the V6 or base model, it's actually not too bad. However, it kind of lacks a bit of fuel economy compared to its rivals, cars of this caliber nowadays. Since this engine is a little bit ancient, there's like no cylinder deactivation like the Chevys, or there's no turbos. Nothing else, just raw V8, which sounds pretty good, but there are some trade-offs. So let's see what we're dealing with storage-wise with the Dodge Durango RT. This thing is almost a full-size SUV. I would call it a full-size. It is still a unibody though. So up here we can see the third row seat is up. The third row is just 2 seats, and then there's also 2 captain chairs, so this thing is a 6-seater. It's a reasonable amount of storage. You have a little bit more down here, but not a whole lot. But if you fold these down, you can see this thing has all the room for it, all kinds of activities. You can also fold down the captain chairs up here like so, and then you get a flat floor inside of this thing, and you can put Logner objects in here, no problem. Alright, so hopping into the back seat of the Durango RT, it's actually a decently comfortable place to be. You can recline the seat. You have decent headroom. I'm about 5'10", and I'm sitting behind a decent position on the front seat. You also do have rear heated seats in this particular model, and you have your climate control in the rear separate up in the roof. Now let's see how the third row is. Alright, into the third row of the Durango, and still no complaints. Even though this thing is a little bit reclined over here, I still have decent headroom and decent leg room, and I think I can share this seat with another passenger with no problem. So the exterior of the Durango, it's a pretty attractive SUV overall, but this body style, you know, this has been facelifted multiple times, but this body style has been around since 2010. Walking around on the side, you see the Hemi emblem. You can see this light bar design that Dodge has been taking over, like the Chargers. It's kind of iconic nowadays. We got the blacked out RT badge, and we also have that badge right there that says that this thing is all-wheel drive. So MSRP for the all-wheel drive Durango, as you can see it right here, starts at $53,595. It's about $2,000 cheaper for the rear wheel drive. What makes this car pop a lot from the base model is this Hellcat looking hood that they put on it. It really changes the front end of this vehicle. So the Dodge key still looks pretty basic, typical Dodge. This one has the button for the remote start, but it doesn't seem to actually be working. We have keyless entry, however, which is pretty nice. Gonna hop into the interior. All right, so interior of the Durango, everything is decently nice, you know, soft leather dash. The doors are okay, the door cards are fine. It's not as plasticky as Dodge once was back in the day, but still some good use of hard plastics, which makes me wonder, who's spending $100,000 on the Hellcat Durangos and still getting the same garbage quality? So we're gonna start this thing up. One thing I really enjoy, Alpine audio. It's pretty good for what it is. It's not the best in the system, but it's decent. Another thing I really like about this car is physical climate control buttons. For God's sake, this does not need to be inside of your infotainment, which it is. You can have it in here and you can control it from here. You have your heated seat buttons in the corner, you know, you can control all of that, but it's so nice to be able to just do it from there. As you can see from here, yeah, there you go. So you can change it all over the place over here, a lot more intricate, different spot. But it's so nice to just have this knob instead of having to roll over here. It's really nice to be able to just lower your temp, raise your temp. And another thing is big volume knob. Nice shifter, not like the little volume knob in the Ram. This car has the ZF 8-speed, Transmission, we'll talk about that when we actually drive it. It's decent, again, not the best, but works pretty well with the Hemi. We got a wireless charging pad in here. We do have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay in this thing. It's decent, it gets the job done. You can check out, excuse the garbage in the garage, but there's the backup camera quality. It's not the best, but it's not the worst, especially since you have a really big screen. It adds to it. There's a lot of stuff, other apps, other customizability. You have Alexa built in here. You have Sirius XM, all that good stuff. This particular one does come with a sunroof. It's a decent size, just one row sunroof. So the gauges inside the RT Durango are actually decently attractive. The red and the font makes it pretty cool. You have a digital centerpiece, which is your speedo, and you have your tach on the side, which is analog. So you can actually customize these menus in between. You have a bunch of different stuff. You actually have a 0 to 60 timer. You can see your music that's playing. It's pretty cool. So typical. And you can see the MPG is actually, you know, kind of awful in this thing compared to a lot of modern rivals. You can see in the RT menu, you can do your 0 to 60 lap timers. You can do 0 to 100, which has not been attempted. I'm not planning on doing that. Other amenities, you have a heated steering wheel, heated seats. You do have sport mode in this thing, which we'll talk about in a little bit, and parking sensors all around. You can turn off your traction control, although this thing is all-wheel drive, so with or without it, you still are hooking pretty well. All right, driving the Dodge Durango RT. I don't know if you can hear that in the background, but the V8 rumble sounds pretty nice, even though it sounds a little bit fake and pumped in. Still, hearing a V8 in a big, you know, SUV is a pretty good relief. Let's see how this big old 7-seater RT handles. Honestly, it's not bad at all. You would expect this thing to have super amounts of body roll, but and then you guys already know, I don't even need to start talking about the ZF8. This transmission is gold, and like comparing this to the 6-speed garbage dog boxes Chrysler used to put on these cars, this thing is night and day. It shifts not as fast as it does in like BMWs and stuff, but it shifts still very respectively fast. The paddles feel nice. I think this is the same steering wheel as in a Hellcat. This road is super bumpy, by the way, and it's soaking up the bumps very, very nicely while still keeping it planted. All-wheel drive definitely helps, especially getting off the line in this thing, as I'll show you in a little bit. It also has really good brakes for the amount of power it makes. I don't know, maybe if they don't upgrade the brakes for the 6.4 or the Hellcats, that would be a problem. I'm sure they upgraded, but the brakes to the amount of power this makes, solid on this thing. Overall driving experience was, it's not the fastest thing. I think it has a little 0 to 60 meter, and I did a 6.2 downhill, so take that with a grain of salt. Well, I mean, for something this big, that's not terrible. I think you could probably achieve a little bit better. All right, let's get this thing on a straight. See how it does. As you guys know, a V8 belongs on a highway.
Overspeed.
So we're gonna get it on a highway and see how it does. On top of power, another thing a V8 has is this thing called torque. And even though this is just a 5.7, it's still mounds of torque, especially on the top end. Like, this is glorious. You hear the V8 in the background. By no means not as fast, not as kick your head to the back as a turbocharged or supercharged vehicle, but still loads of fun for what it is. Especially comparing to like this thing having a V6 in it. No thanks. This is it right here. The downside, of course, is the fuel economy. It's, I guess, miles per gallons, right? Not miles per gallon. The fuel economy on this thing is a little iffy. I think it does like 22 highway But the way I've been driving this thing, it's getting more like 12. And I haven't even been that aggressive, to be honest. It's just regular city driving, not a whole lot of highway. So do with that information as you may, but it definitely does deliver in the fun department. All right. So with this thing, you gotta bang the shifts right on time.
Overspeed.
If it over revs, you're not gonna shift smoothly or fast at all. It's just kind of does a little As far as the comfort and the power on the highway goes, this thing delivers more than enough for most people. Of course, if you want to win races, you probably want to opt for the 6.4 or for the Hellcat version of this thing. If you want a Hellcat one, hit me up. I would love to review one of those. But as far as the RT goes, man, I like it. One of the first reviews I did was a RT Ram Lone Star Edition, and the rumble of these Hemis does not get old. It's always a good sounding car. It's always a good place to be, other than the little cheap Dodge plastics here and there, and you know, this thing that feels like it's straight out of a Dodge Dart. The rest of it, I mean, the fit and finish is not the best, but for the money, you can't expect this thing to be Mercedes levels of interior quality. As far as features go, it has everything you need in a modern car, and then some, to be honest. Like, the dash is decent. Another reason that people in particular really like these cars, and these cars have a cult following, might be the fact that this thing's been in production with, you know, this body style and this frame since 2010. It makes it a more approachable vehicle. People already know how this is. If you had a Dodge Ram product, something similar to this, it's, you know, it drives pretty much the same. It's a good seating position, not too high, not too low. It's very manageable daily drivability wise. It's not like super huge like a Suburban or something. It's very manageable. It handles well. The only gripe I have with this thing is the gas mileage with these gas prices. Aside that, I think this car is definitely a go. If you can afford the gas, I don't see why you wouldn't get one of these. I really like it. I think the power is adequate. A little bit more wouldn't help. A little bit more wouldn't hurt, but definitely loads of power. We're gonna do some handling again. Drop a gear. I mean, for something that weighs over 5,000 pounds, this thing's insane. There's body roll for sure, but the days of the high, you know, center of gravity, high chance of rollover SUVs are kind of in the past. Modern engineering solved a lot of those problems, and this thing handles surprisingly well for how big it is. All-wheel drive system for sure helps a lot. And I think that's about all I have for the 2022 Dodge Durango RT with the 5.7 liter under the hood. So please, please, please let me know in the comments if you own a Dodge, if you don't own a Stellantis product. What's your experience been, reliability wise, quality, all that good stuff. If you own one of these, what's your experience like? If you're planning on getting one, what are you cross-referencing? What are you cross-shopping it with? Maybe I can get my hands on one of those. But as far as this video goes, this one is over. So thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Peace out, and I'm out.